Right, today I'm going to be looking at how you can get UIs and to try and make things a little bit more simple. Well, try to. Right. So we're going to start with looking at how you can set standards up for your sheets, how you can set and install up, just basic things. And then we're going to look at a package called DataShare that will allow you to do UIs. So, firstly, a standard. This is how we've started to use Dynamo. We've created a standard, so we're color coding things. So if someone that's not au fait with the project or anything, they can just look at it and they understand where things are. There's also, you've got to try and note things up. You've got to try and keep things organized. But also, there's a way that if you put it into a certain folder, you can get it to show up on the start screen of Dynamo. So I'll show it afterwards. So if it's in a specific folder, it will automatically show up. You can click it, it will open up the template. There is thought that it will change in the future. They're looking at maybe adding it in the settings so you can change it in the future. But when that is, who knows really. That could be next week, it could be next year. So on this one, this is how we've set it up. So we've got specific color, which is green for input. So whenever you look at a script, you know green is always your input. Then you've got the purple, which is always output. So if you've got an output, you can always see what it is. It could be a watch node, it could be anything. And then we've got 3 set standard colors for operations. So we've set blue, grey, and I really like grey. It's easier. But then we've also got the green area, which is helping to inform whoever opens Dynamo what it does and any constraints, because there might be packages that are needed. It could be that it only runs on Revit 17, but they might be trying to open it in 16. It just lets them know. And then on the right, within our template, we've added a bit of Python, just info in there. So we've got 3 typical nodes. The node on the left for the Python will be the standard out of the box. The middle one is the Revit node for Python, so it's got all the code in there for running Revit. And then the right one is just standard Python modules that may be useful, with links on how to use them and info. And then below that, there's notes on how to set up comments. Try and put comments on your Python. Just if anyone opens it up, they know what's happening. Which brings on to the Python one. So this is how we try and set things up. It's on the same principles as your template. You comment it and inform people, because someone will go in this because they go, oh, I want to use that in this other script. So as long as they know, they know what to copy and what not to copy. Or that's not useful for me, so I won't bother with that. So it's all about that. The one on the right is my new line style template to create line styles from Dynamo into Revit automatically. And then the left one is showing the typical modules that may be useful. On this one, it's getting bytes, kilobytes, and automatically transferring a number into the right format. So it's comment away, but don't go too far. Try not to. Every line doesn't need to be commented, as you can see on the right. We've got a little bit of a function in Python, and it's just there's just a comment at the top saying what it does, and that is it. Next is packages. Packages can be generally saved onto your desktop, but you can set it up to be a server if you really want to. So if you're passing the scripts about, you're going to have to manage that central source is a better place than on a user's desktop. So you need to set that up correctly, a correct place, but you've also got to watch out for versions. Versions can be a big problem because you might get a package and it's for 0.9 when you're opening it in 1.2. So you might have issues, so you just got to watch that. But also there is, within the settings file, which is on the C drive, it's called Dynamo settings, and it's in a certain folder which is highlighted there on the right, on the left. Once you open that file in Notepad, you'll be given up a lot of information. But generally, the only line that you want is custom package folders. And all you got to do is change that string to your server location and deploy that with your install, and you're golden, really. That is out, and it automatically makes it set to the server. And also, just one thing to watch out, which I found out yesterday, was that package directories to uninstall. For some reason, on one machine, it was always uninstalling the package. So you download it, install it, close Dynamo, come back, and it was uninstalling it every time. It's basically line 42 on that little image. It's whatever's indicated there. It might have folders, directories. Get rid of it and just put the package directories to uninstall line in there, and it will be fine. So if anyone's ever had that issue, that is how you fix it. Next is, you're going to have to look at libraries. Where would you save it? What would you do? Is there an approval process? Is there not? Sort of managing it, you know, is it going to be a folder that's just everything's dumped in? Probably not the best place to do it. So a more folder structure is probably better. So on this one, we've got template creations, project admin, coding, manipulation. This is just an example I've just quickly put together for this. But also, what about file naming? Do you want to file name them properly instead of just Excel to Revit? Doesn't really tell the user what they want to do. So maybe some coding. In this example, I thought we've got layer namings in BS 1192. Let's tweak that for this. So what I've done is I've tweaked it so it's a originator at the beginning, so BDP. You might get one from external sources, so that's why that's there. Then you've got roles. Is it going to be a company wide? Is it going to be structures? Is it going to be M&E? Is it going to be architects? That's all there. And then use. Use is just a classification code. So if it's model interpretation, it might be MI. And then a quick description on what it is. That is all that needs to be done. It's just a simplified tweaked BS 1192. Just to try and inform. Next, for going forward, so that's your standard setup. Going forward, right. There is Dynamo Player. It is a good start, but it's not the final. Because it will run, but that is it. It won't let you put any inputs in unless you set them. So there is thought in the future that they will add that. As you can see on the right, I've took that from the Revit roadmap. It says Dynamo Player inputs. So they will be looking at that in the future. But at the moment, it's just click, play, run. So just something to be aware of. It's good, but it's not 100% good. And I've got some workarounds that I'll show in a few. But also, when you're in 2017, it will be under the Manage tab, and it's under the Visual Programming area, next to Dynamo. So Dynamo and Dynamo Player become next to each other. So, right, now on to the fun stuff. Now there's a package called DataShare, and it's some guy that's, I think he's a French guy, should I say? Sorry. Download it from the package manager website, and it will allow you to create UIs. The one on the left is something I generated with him with his early code. Did a lot of modifications, sent him some tweaks, but I've not really decided that I'll modify that one. I'll keep that where it is. But on the right one is an example straight up using his node. It is fairly easy, fairly self-explanatory to use. Just think about what you're putting in to what you're getting out, is all I would say. because you get one full list on the way out, so you will need to split it into the areas that you require it. If you don't do that, you'll just get everything. It could be text, numbers, colors, elements. If you just have one list and put it into set parameters, you're just gonna it's not gonna work. It's just gonna fail. But there is something else, which is Dynamo browser. It is alright. There is an issue with it, which I just found out this week, that it clashes with MBS Create. It's great. Not really. But to set this up, it's just a couple of file changes and you should be okay. The word is you should. The first one is there's this config file, and it's usually in a user folder in the app data ROM in Dynamo, and you just got to change the storage folders to wherever you are saving them to. This could be your server again, and you just put that in there and save and you're alright. But to create buttons on Revit, there is a file called button.txt. Great name. But this is where it gets a little bit complicated. The first set of name is the ribbon name, then you got your colons, then you got your brackets, and then this becomes the name of the script. This is. So if you put the name of the script, it automatically looks at the folder it previously indicated, and it will generate a button for you. But that's all it would do. It's similar to how Dynamo Player works. That's how it will run. It'll load, click, and do whatever indicated in the script. So if it's got preset values, it will just run them preset values. And this is just a quick example of Dynamo browser working. I just thought we can open files, we can open folders, and we can open websites from the plugin via a bit of Python code, but it's in a script. So in this one, you could tell it to open a folder. So you could have a folder with all your library in, anything like that, or even just a folder for your standards. It could just be that, you know, all your BS 1192 standards, whatever, and you just need to click that button and they're automatically there. On this example, I'll show it that it can modify to the project number. So if you change the project number, it will change what folder you go to. But that's how I've set the script up to do that. So open it be a bit faster, because it should be done. It's lagging a bit. So it goes back. Don't know why it's taking its time. And I just run the folder again after changing the project number, and it gives you a different folder. So if you set it up right, you can do tweaks and variations through this. Then of course you can tell it to open a standard, Revit standard. This, come on, it should. I'll tweak it up. For some reason it stopped. So you can open a website. There. So you can open a PDF straight off. And yeah, that's totally not a Revit standard. Next is, I was going to run through this, but luckily I quickly downloaded the video that I've already created for this, but I didn't get a chance to put it in the document. But recently I've created a way to create template files from Revit, but this is going to be using a UI for this to make it a hell of a lot easier. So you've got all your standard out of the box stuff, dims, text, lines, etc, etc. This is not the full package, but yeah, good enough. You got to manage, just quickly showing you the patterns, standard everything. tweak it over, and then we go to Dynamo Player, and then we run the plugin and the script. It should come up with a little UI, which is that. You select all, you input all the info that you need. So in this case it's sheet names, where the sheet lives, and what discipline. So then it's got in the Excel file, it's got all the data in there that you need. All the line styles, close it, it'll run. You don't need to open the Dynamo file at any point in this. You're just selecting your inputs. It will take a minute, so I will jump it over a tiny bit. It will ask again because it's splitting to ask for different parts of an Excel file, so it does open a couple of times. And then that's it done. It's automatically changed all the text. It's already done the dims. As you can see in bottom left, it's already put in the families. And then I'll quickly show the line types. But that just shows that you could fairly easily, you don't have to open Dynamo at any point, and you've just done something fairly quick. There your live patterns done, and all the lifestyle's done.
Does it cut all the existing stuff you have?
Yeah, deletes everything out that's already in there and puts in the new. That's it.
Is this the workaround around the Dynamo Player where you want input?
Yeah. I'm going to quickly go into Revit and quickly go through how you quickly put one together. So when you download the DataShare package, you will be delivered with these sort of nodes from that package. Generally, I'm just going to be showing the UI ones, and if anyone's already got this, you might want to go and update it, because there is now an integer slider now added, so you can pick a slider now. So within there is a couple of things to be aware of. Generally it will work in any Revit to a certain point, but there is one node that doesn't, and that is the color input node. That will only work on Revit 2017. So if you're creating anything, make sure it's only for 17 if you're using that. But you can select edges of elements, faces of elements, or even the model elements if you wanted via a UI. Then from that you can select a directory path, file paths, so you'd select your files, Excel files, anything you would like. Then you've got Boolean, you know, if you want to select it on and off, so I don't want to run that part of the script, I want to run this. You can set that up in there if you really wanted to. And then text box, this is your string input, so you can select a string and put it in. You could even put a number in there, you just got to watch on your output that you make sure that you convert it to a number if you need it future. And then of course you've got your integer slide, which has just been added in the last 24 hours, I think it was. And then you've got your drop downs, you can have a drop down menu and select something from a drop down. And then you've got a list view, so you can select multiple things in a list. That's how you set up the inputs. There is also a way to tag things, so you use this text note to tag things. So if you wanted a text above and then the input to split it into sections, you use that node to do that. So you could say this is the Excel info area, and then this is the loading family area, as an example. And then on the right one, in the purple, is the workings of it. This will have your description, input a logo if you want to. You can put your own company logo on there if you wanted to. And then there's the button text. This is at the bottom right, you can select and tell it to be a certain text, so create template, or just run if you really wanted to, or just set values, which is the default. Then all of what you've created on the left goes into the inputs generally. So you put it into a list create, all them into a list create, and then whatever's the output from the list create, you put it into the input, and then that will generate the UI for you. To show one put together, I'd just quickly put one together showing most of the stuff off. So you've got the output just to show you what is outputted. So on this one we put a description, which is your title that it's going to be. Of course the image is probably not going to work, but we'll give it a try. You can set an image in. You just got to follow file path, file from path, and image read from file, and then that goes directly into the logo, which you can just see from the trail. Then of course you've got your button text. I've just put that in because I've just copied it from one of my other scripts. And then generally the input name is the text that's next to the input. So you select something that's fairly relevant to what you want them to select, is all I would say for you on that one. Because colours, Revit elements, then you've got your splitting areas. If you want to split areas, you can do it that way. You just put a bit of string into a text note, and that will split it into your categories. You've got your drop downs. The drop downs is a little bit weird, because if you wanted to output categories, so a Dynamo category, you would have to put the categories into the values, and then if you wanted to display the proper name for it, you'd have to put that into the keys. Of course, if it's giving you a name and it's giving you the element, you can put them into both. It's either way which is best for you. And then you've got list views, and then you've got your integer slider. Once you've selected everything that you want to input, you generate a list create, so put everything in, and then put that into the input. Of course you can refresh your thing by putting a boolean in there. That just, if it doesn't run perfectly first time, quickly toggle it, rerun, and it will rerun. If it's selected to false, it won't rerun a second time without you closing and reopening. So select it to new and it will rerun. Once you've got all that, and you've got all the rest of your script sorted, of course, click run, and it is supposed to run. Of course it's not going to run because that's breaking it, because you can't find the file, and then we'll run with the true. For some reason it's not working. Good. No. That should read that. Might have to on this one. We'll give it a quick rerun, let's see. Yeah, let's give it an error for some reason. So I'll have to give that one a miss, but I'll create the image and put it into the presentation so it can be released later. And then, oops. And then lastly was just something to watch out for. There's a few posts on the Github page that's in relation to making things easy for UIs and scripts. It's changing, but there is the main one is DYN to DYF formation. What it does, it creates your script and it will automatically put it in a node as your script. So if you created one hell of a script, it will automatically converge it into a DYF so you can put it into another script. That is in the process, but it's 7626 on the GitHub page if anyone's interested on that. And then of course they are doing some behind the scenes remodeling to make multiple home screens, changing settings behind the scenes, just adding more settings for people. I don't know if they're doing it, but they might be changing the package manager as well. People are after it being locked down, some people aren't. So there's stuff in the workings. That is it.